But I wanted our podcast to be successful. I wanted it to be number one.
Ooh.
And so I looked at all the successful podcasts.
Okay.
And I came across this one. You might have heard of it. It's called My Dad Wrote a Porno.
Yes.
So if you don't know, if you haven't heard, it's pretty self-explanatory. One of the podcasters' dads has actually written a porno and they read through it and they all have a laugh.
It's quite funny because his dad has a funny way of writing.
And it's serious and crazy thing. On the weekend, I was at my grandparents' house.
Mm-hmm.
I was in their study and I was looking for a stapler.
You're probably going to fuck it.
Who knows? Came across a hidden drawer. There was a book.
Shit.
A book in it. And my granddad wrote a porno.
What?
Yes. It sounds too good to be true.
It does.
But it is true. And I thought I could read a chapter to you each podcast.
I'd love to hear it.
I think you would. It's a very, very good read. I don't have the book with me because I didn't want to steal it in case.
Oh, of course not.
No, of course not. So I took photos and I'm going to read it from that. Okay.
I'm excited.
So he called this book A Hard Day's Night.
Ooh, I like what he did there.
And that's nice and subtle. But then in brackets, he has A Hard Day's Night at the Sex Library.
Right. Is that back when you had to read books to wank?
I don't know. So chapter 1. And I'll do the voices for you just so.
Yeah, that'd help.
Yeah, it would be.
Set the scene.
This looks like an interesting book, remarked Trevor as he pulled one from the shelf.
Yep. Trevor, classic.
That's not a book. It's a manila folder, quipped an elderly gentleman as he walked by. I'm glad you're enjoying this. Mind your own business, champ, Trevor replied.
Ooh, champed him.
He champed him. And then he also says this, Trevor replied, or I'll make you disappear like Harold Holt.
Oh.
Ooh.
Harold?
Harold. So he written Harold, yes. It's his writing. It's a tricky to read.
Gotcha.
So I guess he wrote it just after Harold Holt went there, and that's a legitimate threat.
So that's the Prime Minister that just disappeared.
And that was in the 50s or 60s, so this could be an old work of art.
Ooh, this is a relic.
So Trevor replied. The old elder gentleman Neville grabbed his cane and hobbled away, muttering as fast as he could. Trevor didn't care. He wasn't there for the books. He was only there for her.
Ooh, who is she? We must know.
He sat down at the table and pretended to read. Dorothy was at the desk, wearing those black woolly stockings, thick-rimmed glasses, and her suggestive orange muumuu.
Okay. I'm pitching a very obese woman.
But it's a suggestive muumuu.
Okay.
So who knows?
She might be floating in it, I guess.
Thin people can wear muumuus. It could have been the fashion at the time. Okay.
Chubby chaser like his grandson.
She moved as if in slow motion. This may have been his imagination, or it may have been her arthritis. He hummed church hymns while he got lost in her eyes. She starts to walk towards him. Before he can look away, she's at his table. Can I help you? Dorothy asks. Not right now, thanks, Trevor stammered. I'm just reading my manila folder. Dorothy looked confused. That's a book, not a folder. Damn it, Neville, Trevor murmured under his breath. Neville stitched him up.
Got him.
Oh, man, the zinger's
Classic
coming.
Neville.
Haha, I knew that. I was just testing you. Dorothy doesn't look convinced. Trevor changes the subject. What, are you doing later? Dorothy looks him dead in the eyes and whispers, hopefully you.
Ooh.
Then sexily jaunts away, her muumuu blowing in the breeze. Apparently there's a breeze in the library.
I like it.
And Trevor instantly got harder than an algebra test.
Ooh.
And thought to himself, what kind of library is this? Little did he know, it was the sex library. It's the end of the chapter.
Erotic. Far out. You weren't joking with the happy ending. I've got to change my underpants.
I can't believe my granddad wrote that.
That is very convenient for our new podcast.
Very convenient.
Wow.
Chapter 2. Dorothy walked back to her desk, flushed with excitement. Could this finally be the day that Trevor ripped off her muumuu and rode her like a Ferris wheel?
Holy shit, that's
around and around, up and down, while carnies watch their every move.
There's nothing hotter than getting watched by a carny.
There is not. So this chapter, I think, is from the Dorothy's perspective, more focused on Dorothy. That's how real writers do it. Have you ever been watched by a carny before?
I've seen him, and I
I've
assume
seen him.
I had a
Oh,
carny
can I rob him?
recognise me from videos.
No way.
Yeah. He was like, have a free one on me.
Dorothy pretended to sign documents while she watched Trevor from the corner of her eye. She usually watched people from the corner of her eye, not just because staring was rude, but mostly because she had a lazy eye, and it usually rested in the corner. Trevor appeared to be around 25 to 35 years of age. He wasn't traditionally handsome with his bowl cut and thick monobrow, but he had bright red hair, and Dorothy had always had a thing for redheads ever since she read the comics Ginger Megs. She thought about his freckled white skin and instantly got wetter than the bottom of Noah's Ark.
Oh, very wet.
That's good imagery.
Yeah.
That is good imagery.
Unless it's before the flood.
Before the flood.
Very dry under the
Splintery.
hull. Yeah,
Splintery.
splintery
That's,
on dry dirt.
that's breakfast pussy, bottom of
That's-
Noah's
yeah.
Ark.
Yeah.
And then it starts sprinkling and moves into lunch pussy.
Yep.
Full flood, night pussy. Dinner
Absolutely. The feast is on.
The feast is on. Just as he looked like he was about to approach it, Neville, the 90-year-old human mummy, waddled over, proudly holding the book Mein Kampf, like the closet racist she always suspected he was. I hate Asian people, Neville remarked. There's nothing closeted about that racism, Dorothy thought to herself. Good to know, Neville. Anything else I can help you with? She asked as she wrote down the name of his book. Yes, I'd love a blowjob, Neville said.
Oh, straight to it.
Straight to it. He knows he's at the sex library, maybe. Maybe he's just a creepy old man. He is ordering Mein Kampf, so...
Yep.
Dorothy said, sorry, but my Chinese boyfriend doesn't let me give strangers blowjobs anymore.
Ooh. That hit hard.
So there's a little zinger there. I don't know if she's just saying this
If it's just like a bit of
or it's a little bit of comeback. There you go. Like, I don't agree with your racism. That's one way to protest. Another reason to hate the Asians, Neville yelled as he walked off.
Oh, wow. That backfired.
Because her Chinese boyfriend doesn't let her give blowjobs. Dorothy sighed. Anyone else, and she might have considered it. Like a fat guy at a barbecue, her lips were aching for some sausage. Oh, you have a boyfriend? That's a shame, said a voice. She looked over. It was Trevor. Now, it was her chance.
Oh, shit.
I do, but he's not here, is he? She replied as she tore off her muumuu to reveal that underneath it there was a sexy, lacy, black poncho.
Oh, man, this is sexy.
A bit tighter than the muumuu.
Okay.
It clearly showed her ample bust, the outline of her stiff nipples.
Oh, sniff nipples.
Stiff nipples clearly visible right next to her belly button.
I'm getting turned on.
Trevor then said just two words, two little words which sent shivers through her throbbing pussy. He said, moo moo. It was time for the sex library to live up to its name.
Oh, shit. Fuck, what a cliffhanger.
That's the end of the chapter, guys. I hope you...
Fuck. You can't leave them hanging like that.
moo moo.
So many dudes are about to bust a nut via podcast on trains all around Australia and the world.
Here's chapter 3. This is definitely something my grandfather wrote, by the way, guys.
Of course.
Chapter 3. As Trevor eyed Dorothy's black poncho, he instantly became more roused than George Pell at a Wiggles concert.
Oh, shit.
I mean, my granddad. How did he know? He undid all the buttons of his plain white t-shirt, never breaking eye contact. His thick red chest hair exploded out. Oh, yeah, he has red hair.
Oh, that was a gross twist.
Exploded out. And as he completely removed his shirt, his tattoo was revealed. Covered half his stomach and wrapped all the way around to his back. What's that tattoo? Dorothy asked. Uh-oh, here we go again, thought Trevor. It's a numbat playing chess, he responded. What's a numbat? Inquired Dorothy. It's a small-sized marsupial of long, colourful fur that's found in Western Australia, Trevor replied. And why is it playing chess? Asked Dorothy. Here goes nothing, thought Trevor. Because bitches love chess? He stammered. Dorothy looked at him with an unreadable expression. You're not wrong, Trevor. she seductively replied.
Ooh.
Except you won't need 4 moves to finish me off.
Holy crap.
Yep.
That's
And with
hot.
that, Dorothy pulled Trevor in close and kissed him deeply, her tongue moving fast like a salamander on pingers.
I've
Could
got
you
a
act
visual.
that out for the people? That was the one. Trevor was taken back at first, but responded by picking her up and putting her on the desk, very carefully as not to break her weak hips. He then put his hands on her turkey neck and stroked it as if to say, I know your skin sags a bit and it turns me on.
Ooh.
He runs his hands all the way down her breasts, feeling them quiver over her poncho. By the time he stroked her whole breast, he was at her knees. He then lifted up the poncho and moved his fingers up and slowly entered her vagina.
Holy crap.
Yep, it's getting hot and heavy. It was sweaty, but not very deep. Oh, wait, that's just the flaps. Whoops, not again. Funny how that always happens, he thought to himself. I either get lost in the flaps or accidentally finger the butthole. Haha. I wonder if she likes Amtrak trains. Concentrate, he thought to himself. Don't blow this now. She seemed to be losing interest, so to save the situation, Trevor ripped off his pants like a stripper on a hen's night, looked Dorothy in the eyes and said, I'm going to fuck you like a numbat.
Nice.
Dorothy replied, burrow away, you dirty marsupial. Then just as Trevor was about to take off his underwear, a voice shouted, what is going on here?
Oh, no.
Trevor looked over and saw Wong Fang standing at the door.
Oh, shit.
It was Dorothy's Chinese boyfriend, and he did not look happy.
Dun, dun, dun.
End of chapter. Let us continue. Chapter 4. Wong Fang stood motionless in the doorway, unable to move, like a carrot in the ground, or a woman after a drink with Bill Cosby.
Jesus.
That's what I find weird about this, because he
That
would have
he knew
read
that.
He would have written this in the 60s.
Maybe he knew something we
70s
didn't know.
maybe.
He could have stopped a lot of bad things.
I don't know. Did he update it? Like,
I think he knew.
I think
People
he
knew
knew.
in the business.
yeah, okay.
Mm.
Anyway, flowers were in Wong's hands, tears running down his face as he watched a red-headed man with a bowl cut awkwardly finger his elderly girlfriend's flaps.
Jesus fuck.
It's very visual, isn't it?
It is, yeah. The flaps really got me.
He thought, how could my day have ended up like this? As just an hour ago, Wong was triumphantly gloating as he passed the test and received his driver's license. So much for the stereotype that Asians can't drive, he had yelled out his Magna as he zoomed down the street, fresh license in his hand. Sure, it had taken him 18 attempts to pass the test. And shortly after yelling, he drove his car through a fence and crashed into a public pool. But that pool came from nowhere, he reassured himself, as he
True.
climbed out of the pool wetter than a middle-aged woman during a Chris Hemsworth movie. Again, a weird reference for the 70s.
Chris Hemsworth wasn't born.
Oh,
Oh, maybe there was a different Chris Hemsworth.
I'm assuming
His
a
dad.
different Chris Hemsworth.
His granddad.
And I was reading this and I was like, wow, the 70s, 60s were racist. Because it sounds... But this is what my granddad wrote.
I mean, it's a timepiece.
It's a timepiece. It's a
Yeah.
timepiece. Wong was all for breaking stereotypes, which was one of the reasons he found himself dating Dorothy, a woman twice his age.
Ooh la la.
They had met on the bus. Wong had made the mistake of talking to the bus driver while the bus was moving, which the signs very clearly said not to. So as punishment, the driver stopped the bus in the middle of the highway, pulled out a baseball bat, and beat Wong like an orphan child,
Oh my god.
yelling, never talk to the fucking bus driver when the fucking bus is moving.
Jesus.
The driver then spat on Wong, got back in his seat, and calmly started driving as if nothing had happened. Wong lay there, hurt, but also embarrassed because he knew he was in the wrong. There was a very clear sign. He should have known better.
Right. Poor Wong.
And I should just say there, I was very impressed. My granddad could have gone for an easy pun there. He could have said very clearly in the Wong, didn't do it. He said wrong, definitely wrote wrong there. So respect to him, I should say.
Interesting.
So he's lying on the ground on the bus, beaten. Just as he was about to get up, a voice whispered in Wong's ear, Don't worry. I will never spit on you. Wong opened his eyes and saw a woman, a goddess in a shapeless grey toga, a sun hat, and a black choker around her neck.
Oh, shit.
I will never spit on you because I swallow
Oh, my gosh.
everything, she added as she winked and licked the blood off his face like a cat
Oh
with
my
a saucer of milk.
That's a kinky as fuck.
That was the moment Wong fell in love. Now he watched as his woman, his love, his saggy old fuck doll,
Oh, Jesus.
as she liked to be called, was making out with another man, a red-headed man at that.
Yuck.
The tears ran down his face. But they weren't tears of sorrow or pain, no. They were tears of joy. He'd always wanted to have a threesome with Dorothy and a man
Ooh.
that looked like an inbred lumberjack. And she had just delivered his wildest fantasy in his favourite place, the sex library.
Oh, shit.
But how would the man react? There was only one way to find out.
Another cliffhanger.
Another cliffhanger.
Jesus.
He fucking writes a hook, doesn't
He
he?
does. He's good.
I just, I haven't read the next chapter yet because I stopped because I wanted to do it with respect. I wanted to read it with you guys on the podcast.
Of course, yeah.
What do you think's going to happen?
Well, I'm hoping for a threesome, obviously.
Like a real kinky one or like a love one? Like a real, slow?
Kinky that leads to love.
Oh, that's hot.
Yeah.
That's like any good rom-com. It
That's
starts
it.
off with a gangbang. Chapter 5. Upon hearing Wong speak, because he earlier said the words, "What's going on here?" Dorothy quickly pulled away from Trevor's embrace, the red-headed 30-year-old. Startled, flustered, Trevor stared at Wong, with his head tilted to the side like a confused poodle. "Why are you so wet?" Trevor asked him. "Because I drove my car into a swimming pool," Wong replied. "Why aren't you wetter?" "I don't know what that means," replied Trevor. "That woman there won 4th place in the Dubbo nursing home bikini contest."
Fuck yeah, that was a good year.
That was a good year.
Yeah, I remember the
Yep.
photos. I had the calendar.
Yep. Yeah, the calendar. Fuck that. Is a hot calendar. She won 4th place. "You are making out with an elderly goddess. And you're as dry as overcooked toast. If that was me,
Jesus.
I'd have enough pre-cum in my pants to drown a donkey."
Wow, that's a lot.
Pre-cum too.
Yeah, donkeys are big.
They take a lot of cum to drown.
I've tried.
Dorothy wasn't expecting to see Wong so soon, or hear his lovely analogies about donkeys and pre-cum. She thought he wouldn't be there at all. She thought he would fail his driving test again, then go into the usual shame spiral, which is when he drinks all the beers he could handle, brackets 3. Then she would have to pick him up from karaoke at 1 a.m. while he's midway through a Madonna song. But here he was, early, and he walked in as she was finally making out with her dream man. He didn't look angry, though. If anything, he looked horny.
Ooh.
She wasn't Wong's material girl. She was his saggy old fuck doll.
Wow.
And that was the way she liked it, and she knew Wong was up for anything. But as he advanced towards him, slowly undoing his pants, she wanted a minute to think, to regather her composure. To stall him, she asked Wong a question she knew would delay him. "Hey, Wong, baby," she said. "Yes, Gilphosaurus," he responded. "Do you think Hong Kong should have its independence?" She asked. Random for my granddad to write
That's
that.
strange. No wonder TikTok removed your songs.
Wong immediately stopped advancing, triggered like a vegan at a steakhouse, or a coal miner at a climate change rally, or a pedophile at a Don't Fuck Kids convention.
Yeah, they suck.
They get triggered at those
Oh, I
conventions.
hate those.
Oh, sorry, you do.
Yeah.
While he was preoccupied with justifying China's ban of Winnie the Pooh, Dorothy had some time to think. Did she want a dirty interracial gangbang, or did she just want Trevor and his sexy red bowl cut? Had her relationship with Wong ran its course like China's relationship with Winnie the Pooh?
Very topical. Wow, Grandad.
Like Steven Seagal's career, was it going on way too long?
Very true.
And that was in the 60s.
Yeah, wow, and he's still going.
He's still gone since
Fuck.
then. Before she could decide, there was a knock at the door. It was the police!
What?
Yes. The officers entered the room. "Sorry to bother you guys, but we are looking for the owner of a grey Magna," one of them stated. Wong stopped his Winnie the Pooh hate speech and turned to the policeman. Yep, that's me. Did you manage to get my car out of the pool? He calmly asked. The policeman replied, we did, sir, but underneath it we found a whole water polo team.
Oh, shit.
Crushed to death.
Oh, my God. It's got dark.
Now, I find water polo a terribly boring sport too, sir. But as the law stands, you can't drive your car into them, no matter how much they may deserve it. You are going to jail for a long time. Wong looked around, and like a bad hand on blackjack, he knew he was beat. So he simply said, uh-oh, SpaghettiOs.
Classic.
And moonwalked out the room.
Nice.
Into police custody. Dorothy was shocked, but also turned on. Apart from watching her grandson's friends play basketball, nothing got her wetter than water polo players dying by drowning.
Very specific.
So ironic. So erotic. Trevor looked at her with an unreadable expression. Did he still want her soft, droopy windsock titties?
Oh, jeez.
He leaned over and whispered in her ear, call me Pooh Bear, because I'm about to lick your honey pot clean.
Wow.
Dorothy shivered with pleasure, so much that she couldn't think of anything clever to say. Instead, she said, fuck me until I sound like Eeyore, you red-headed bitch.
Jesus Christ. That is erotic. That was an erotic chapter. Well,
I like the sound effects you were doing.
I only did one.
They were very good.
Thank you.
Wow.
Oh, those ones.
Those ones, yeah.
That was my Owen Wilson impression.
Oh, I loved it. Chapter 6. Trevor, sick of the interruptions, didn't want to waste any more time. He quickly pulled down his underwear to reveal a bright red bush.
Wow.
And a fully erect snow white penis. Snow white. I like to think it shines.
Like porcelain.
Yeah, that's what I like to think.
That's beautiful.
Anduril was ready, he thought to himself. Trevor liked to call his dick Anduril because it was the name of Aragorn's sword, who was his favourite character from the books, The Lord of the Rings. Because I guess they were just books at that point.
True. You had to just imagine what Frodo looked like.
Yeah, just had to. Aragorn used his Anduril to unite an army to fight against the darkness, whereas Trevor hoped to use his Anduril to enter the darkness. The darkness of Dorothy's tight 80-year-old pussy.
Tight?
She does kegels. She's very,
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Good on her. Good for her.
Trevor looked up, and like a rugby league player in the showers after a game, Dorothy was already naked and ready to clap some cheeks.
Oh my God. What, did they say that back then? Clap cheeks?
They did say clap cheeks.
Yeah, right.
Because everything goes through stages, so I guess it went out of cycle. You never heard Frank Sinatra's song, Clap Some Cheeks?
No, I missed that one. It sounds good.
It was, I've got you under my skin. Did he do that one?
Sure.
Clap Some Cheeks.
Mm-hmm.
What was some other Frank Sinatra songs?
I don't know any of them. That's why I didn't tune in.
Before he entered her, Trevor had just one more thing to do. He needed to speak. He needed to give a speech designed to turn any woman's vagine from a dry mop into the Niagara Falls. He needed to deliver Aragorn's speech from the final battle in The Return of the King.
Oh, shit.
His favourite book of the series. He looked at Dorothy and said this. He said, I see in your eyes the same fear that would take the heart of me. Dorothy was stunned. She had never heard this kind of dirty talk before, but she liked it. Yes, Daddy, she moaned as Trevor continued.
Wow.
I can't even picture an 80-year-old saying yes, Daddy, because that must...
That's talking to ghosts.
It's kinky. It's talking to ghosts.
You know what I'm saying?
She moaned as Trevor continued. A day may come when the courage of men fails, when we forsake our friends and break all bonds of fellowship. But it is not this day. During the speech, Dorothy had begun to spit on her own pussy.
Oh my God.
And rub it like a dirty saucepan that needed cleaning.
Oh. Sound effects.
She yearned for more. An hour of wolves and shattered shields when the age of men comes crashing down. But it is not this day. The spitting continued, and now Dorothy is rubbing her elastic mutt.
Oh, jeez. That's very visual.
Even
you can really
more.
See it.
You can really see it. He's a descriptive writer, my granddad.
Imagine someone kneading pizza dough. That's what her vagina looks like. You know?
Even just imagine your grandfather saying mutt.
Yeah, mutt's dirty.
Get your mutt back over here, love.
Show us your mutt. Put in your mutt.
So she's rubbing her elastic mutt, her pizza dough, even more vigorously like a problem gambler with a bunch of scratchies.
Oof.
Or like Michael J. Fox with a bunch of scratchies. Whoever that is.
All right. That was an update.
It must have been an update. I saw
Yeah.
a little whiteout in that part.
Yeah,
It
right.
used to say James Dean or Elvis.
Yeah.
No, Elvis's leg. It was had something like that.
Yeah, gotcha.
As he continued to read, Trevor's voice was getting louder and louder as he got harder and hornier for battle. This day we fight. By all that you hold dear on this good earth, I bid you stand, men of the West. I bid you stand before I bend you over. Come bucket of the East, goddess of the library.
That's hot.
And with that, Dorothy and Trevor both exploded.
Holy shit.
Like a Nickelodeon's awards show, slime was everywhere and no one was laughing.
Wow. That is a visual.
Another addendum, that one must have
Is it
been.
green slime?
It was green, I believe. For 2 hours, they writhed around ejaculating.
Wow. 2 hours.
That's why I read that. I was like, that can't be right, Grandad. 2 hours.
That's impressive.
That is a lot of fluid. They writhed around ejaculating and mumbling gibberish, kind of like Christians when they speak in tongues.
True.
Eventually they stopped, stared at each other while lying in an inch of bodily fluids. Trevor stroked her gooey face and whispered, "For Frodo," then passed out.
Wow.
Dorothy smiled and in return she whispered back, "I think I broke my hip. Please call an ambulance." Then she too passed out from the pain.
Jesus.
And possibly died. No one knows. Epilogue.
Ooh.
Epilogue.
Wow.
Yes. 50 years have passed since that glorious day, and I find myself wondering, was it just a dream? Or did that magical moment, magical encounter actually happen?
Shit.
Life is dull now. Today, I have a colonoscopy, followed by bingo, followed by dinner with my idiot grandson. He thinks he's a comedian, but his big, crazy sex story is about how he got laid to a kid's movie called Frozen. That's all. Absolutely pathetic.
Oh, wow. That's a bit of a...
That is, I was like, I'm reading that, I'm like,
Say it to
what?
my face, bitch.
I'm like, what?
Yeah, you were about to throw down, surely.
Well, he wasn't there because he's dead now.
Oh. So he's...
But I remember, like, I used to have dinner with him, and I'd be telling these funny stories. He was laughing, but his eyes wouldn't laugh. And it's all making sense now. And sometimes he would, like, spit on me and say, pathetic.
Right.
And I thought he was talking about my outfit.
Probably was as well.
So that's what he's written here. Absolutely pathetic, which is a word he loved to say to me. He's never been to a sex library. He's never got an Andrew out and drenched a 70-year-old hornbag like a fireman's hose on a burning bush. Because it is a bush. That's very good imagery. One day I hope he finds these scripts and follows in my footsteps as a sexual deviant. Or at least shares these stories with the world.
A bit of both.
I know, and that's why I was like, whoa. This is like, you know, those moments where you're like, I'm related to this man. It's like, whoa. And then there's a final sentence from my granddad's porno. I will continue to write down my exploits, my stories that seem so crazy, so erotic, they couldn't possibly be true. But they are, every single one. Until next time, always remember my motto, fuck bitches, get money. Yours sincerely, Gerald Winston French, a.k.a. Trevor.
That was beautiful.
Wow.
Wow, what a moment. This is history we are sharing.
So it was an autobiography the whole time. You kind of guessed that, but it was. I thought it was just a random story.
Yeah.
That fucking happened.
That's crazy.
But yeah, so that's my granddad wrote a porno, finally finished. It's kind of like, I feel like kind of like when, you know,
Mad Men finished.
Mad Men finished. You know what would be a good way to finish this podcast off?
What's that?
reggae song, the second one from your album.
My second one.
Yes, the first one was very good, but you've got a really good second one. And I remember your title was I Married a Seagull.
True.
Yeah.
True. That was a good one.
Do you remember how that went?
I think we're going to find out.
Yahweh.
Seagull! Spread your wings and let me fuck that seagull puss. Seagull! Don't tell your friends that my cock is not a hot chip. Seagull! Don't let your friends know that you're fucking a grown-ass man. You're just a little bird. It's just a little cock. Now open up your beak and thought. You're a thought. A thoughty seagull.
Okay. Woo. That might be enough of the actual sex. Maybe talk about how you fucking married her, you freak.
Now I'm spreading that seagull asshole.
No.
Fucking the seagull.
How did you meet the seagull? The love story.
And my lord is shooting in the seagull. It's expanding.
We don't need to know
The seagull
details.
is drowning in
Okay.
cum of man.
One day you were walking on the beach. You wanted to fall in love.
And instead I fell with my cock.
That's enough.